In my late teens, my girlfriend was called Lydia. No one in the town could ever have been prettier. Our love affair was perfect till she said she caught chlamydia. I dropped her at the clinic and cried. The next one that I met was a plump girl called Jocasta. We played lots of card games, whist, gin rummy and canasta. She loved Italian food, God, she could shovel in the pasta. But she ballooned and our relationship died. There was Sadie, she was shady, and then there was Beryl. She had a twin sister whose name I think was Cheryl. Her approach to sex was bordering on the feral. She drained the life from me as if she were a leech. One Friday night at Tesco's I encountered Tina. By night she was a lap dancer, by day an office cleaner. Though you never would have guessed from her demure demeanor. Though on reflection I recall she smelt of bleach. Then there was Tanya and Alison and a blonde one called Olivia, who chattered on incessantly, hours and hours and hours of trivia. They say she was the cause of a plane crash in Bolivia, bored the pilots and the passengers to death. I was waiting at the bus, I met young Arabella. It was pouring down with rain and I offered my umbrella, but I came home 2 days later, she was with another fella in a threesome with me neighbour called Beth. There were English ones called Sarah and a French one called Claudette, who did extraordinary things with a freshly baked baguette. I could never eat another one, but nor will I forget the way she dipped it in her cafe au lait. That isn't actually funny. There was Hayley, was a sweetie, and Kira held me tightly. I loved Hayley daily, Kira I loved nightly. But I never took her for granted, I always asked politely, saying, may I please, and is it okay? On holiday in Italy I met sweet Renata. Sadly to her parents I was persona non grata. As we made love she sang soprano arias from La Traviata. I went temporarily deaf in one ear. I was working on the east coast there. I met Rowena, she was anti-fouling trawlers in Lowestoft Marina, but she left me for a migrant worker from Bosnia-Herzegovina, and we stayed together less than a year. Then one day I found the perfect pair, Chardonnay and brandy. Chardonnay relaxed me and brandy made me randy, and she was cheap to run, went all night on half a lager shandy. I do so admire thrift in a girl. I was walking past the church one day and ran into Giselle. She said it was a certainty that I would go to hell. I asked her if she'd save me and come back to my hotel. She failed, but God, she gave it a whirl. I had a brief affair with an American called Hannah. She was very musical, played classical piano. She also wrestled alligators in Louisiana, and on me she tried the same technique. She bent me over backwards and she grabbed my lower jaw, using forces she read about in Newton's second law. By the time that she had finished I was feeling bruised and raw, and I couldn't straighten up for a week. I'm older, I'm much wiser now, I finally settled down. The girls I mentioned earlier are no longer around. After so much experimentation I finally have found you're the only girl for me. So though you are not sexy and you're certainly not erotic, you can certainly be flaky and sometimes neurotic. You'd have the same effect on me as a very strong narcotic. But you're the only girl for me, and always will be. You're the only girl for me, well, at least for this month. You're the only girl for me.